Everything starts and ends in the mind. It all boils back down to your perspective and how you're going to perceive it. Because the same thing can happen to two different people and they can experience two completely different things.
If he were telling the truth, he wouldn't have told us.
Unless, of course, he knew you wouldn't believe the truth, even if he told it.
And she's, you know what I mean? She wanting control, power like that, like, you know.
Where we went wrong was I was expecting a wife that would continue to be a team player. But what ends up happening is over time, people get sick of each other. If you live with someone long enough, you get sick of them. And she started regretting her decision. She's like, why did I marry this person? Because I'd always ask her, I'm like, baby, why did you marry me? Honey, why did you marry me? It didn't make any sense. I mean, her last boyfriend before me was making $300,000 a month. Not a year. He was making $300,000 a month. Like stupid, ridiculous money. And here I am just freaking, I'm all excited and proud of myself for making $175,000 a year because I was only getting paid $36,000 from my parents to run the company. I said, I can't support a family with this, mother. You know what she said? She said, go work at McDonald's. She said, why don't you go work at McDonald's and see if you can make that kind of money? That's what she told me, bro. And that's how my story begins. But here I am, my brother, he got a job at McDonald's. I'm so glad you got a job. Huh? It's a job right now, you know?
Yep. It's a pretty hectic environment. It's very unusual for me. It's hard to adjust. But maybe it'll be just what I need.
Learn to be a team player.
I made myself do it.
Learn to become a team player on the staff. Work with your colleagues.
It's just so far right now. It's like I give offensive body language. So
you give offensive body language?
Yeah, I believe so. So I'm working on that. I don't know. I have to be. I'm not really happy with the way my social standpoint. Like it's very awkward.
Don't you say you wish like it could be the same between you and I with everybody else?
Well, yeah, but I'm still approaching. Even when I'm by myself, I'm still being able to be myself for a while. But I'm slowly working on it.
It's like your walls come up too fast, huh?
Yeah, that and a lot of stuff that I do to myself.
It's like self-sabotage.
Yeah, it's just all the little stuff.
Do you feel guilty about that stuff?
Well, no. It's just after you do it and you find out that ain't the right way, it's hard to recover from it.
Well, what's not the right way? Drinking and smoking?
Well, no, it ain't bad. But you can't just you know what I'm saying? You can't overdo it.
Oh, yeah, you definitely can't overdo it. You don't want to be like freaking James and get drunk at 10 in the freaking morning and stop by Ace's tax services and be belligerently drunk in public. But there's nothing wrong with drinking. There's nothing wrong with having a margarita can. Bro, that day was awesome. After church, we had a beer, take a walk in the park. I mean, that was nice. It's just you don't want to drink too much. You don't want to be out of control.
So you're stressed out, you want to drink. It could be really necessary. It ain't going to necessary, you know what I'm saying? You might fix that problem.
It's just a transference of energy. All that's happening when that happens, let's say something pisses you off, right, Alex? And then you say, F this, I want to go drink. And you drink. You're transferring your energy. So all that negative energy that you've just taken from this thing that just made you mad, you're applying it to alcohol and you're transferring your energy through that. Now, some people can get it completely out of their system and some people, they continue to harbor that in themselves. And so they start creating a vicious cycle because people do have to let out steam. It's not like it's wrong to drink to relieve stress. But if you become dependent on that and then it also becomes like a cycle, then that's not good for you. You just don't want to be controlled by anything. Feeling guilty for just drinking, that's a conviction that you have to deal with internally, If you feel like it's wrong, then don't do it. But don't let other people guilt you into something because they think it's wrong. You're judged by no one but God, Jesus. Jesus is the final judge.
as far as like witchcraft goes. If you looked at it as a witchcraft, then basically Jesus would be being created right now by the Bible.
No.
If he did exist, right? So
Kind of expand on this thought process, because what you just said is that if this witchcraft stuff is real, then the Bible created Jesus.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait. First of all, you're not gonna speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
No. I'm saying if God and Jesus hadn't existed, then the belief in the Bible itself would basically be like a creation of this story that has been made.
I don't get it.
If what? What was the initial statement?
I'm saying if Jesus had not already existed, if somebody ain't done already got tortured to death, which there's been plenty, very plenty, this still happens every day, probably.
I'm not quite following.
I still don't get it.
I feel like I'm doing it. over and over. It's like, damn, do it again. With religion, it's like, damn.
What I'm saying? Man, Rev just gave me $100. Boy, I'm supposed to be out buying church fans.
Hey, man, I don't understand a word that you been saying.
If I started over new today, if I could be completely brand new and everything changed and, everything be perfect and brand new today, but I've been reading my Bible, so I'm gonna do that today, of course, and go to church, and then, boom, I do that again.
So you're saying you're doing good things, but then you mess up, and then you feel...
I'm saying if I start off a new day, if I start off a brand new day and everything could be perfect, how am I gonna keep from bringing the shit from yesterday with me today?
Like being bogged down by all the stuff that happened to you yesterday?
Letting go of all that, just brand new. I like to try and brand new start a day.
Jesus said to forgive. If your brother asks for forgiveness, forgive him 7 times 70. So the concept of forgiveness is really, truly just letting it go in your heart, not being bothered by it. Forgive and let go. You know how hard it was for me to forgive my parents? And, it bothers me so many times when people will be like, well, you didn't never really truly forgive your parents. Like, bro, you don't know me. You don't know my heart. You have no idea who I am. All you know is the words that are coming out of my mouth. And I'm saying these things to express just one dimension of my existence. Don't think that you can surmise me because of the statement that I've just made. You know what I mean? Don't jump to conclusions.
Patient has a fractured fibula, so he can be able to go on tomorrow.
Daddy's gonna be so excited.
That killed him.
But that happens so much. But me talking about the things that my parents have done to me does not mean that I haven't forgiven them yet. It's just simply a part of my story. But to forgive somebody that has wronged you, it's not easy, regardless of how frivolous or how serious it is. Because ultimately, it's going to poison you. That hatred that you harbor for whoever that person is, or that anger that you harbor for whoever that person is, it's going to destroy you, the poison inside you. And then what ends up happening, just like Jesus said, it is not what goes into the mouth that defiles a man. It's what comes out of the mouth. Is that what defiles him? Because out of the heart comes all kinds of sins. And those are the things that you're talking about, that you're bothered by, the negative things from yesterday. Why? Because you still hold on to it. You just gotta let it go. Let it be water off of the back of a duck. Does it make sense?
It makes perfect sense to me.
That's why Jesus said, do not worry.
It's got to be even better than that, though.
Well, there's got to be something better than that.
It's got to be even better than that.
Everything is in the mind, Alex. Everything starts and ends in the mind. Because how you interpret the stimuli that are happening around you, the variables that are happening around you, the events that are happening around you, it all boils back down to your perspective and how you're going to perceive it. Because the same thing can happen to 2 different people and they can experience 2 completely different things. One can be completely humbled by the glory of God and the other person can end up hating God, even though the same exact things happen to them both. Everything starts and ends in the mind, Alex.
No, that goes into another subject.
Yeah. It's a very complex subject. Anyways, let me go run this over to the UPS real quick, and then we'll move on to the next thing. What time is it? Is it 12? The autistic Christian out.
If he was telling the truth, he wouldn't have told us.
Unless, of course, he knew you wouldn't believe the truth, even if you told us.